Good.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Rise to Your Peak podcast. I am here with my guest today, Andres Linares. Andres and I have been good friends over the recent years, and he is a amazing coach, rising the ranks with his competitive athletes. So I'm really excited to have him on today. Andres, how are you doing, my man?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me. It's been a while since we caught up, so this is good.
Yeah, no, definitely. What's been going on lately, man? I've seen you absolutely crushing it. I mean, just this year alone, I think you've um, created quite a few different IFBB pros, both male and female, correct?
Yeah, that's right. So this year, man, has been a great year for me for my competition clients. I've gotten a total of three pro cards, and then I got an Olympia qualification
Yeah,
wellness athlete from Costa Rica.
yeah,
So it's been a great year, man. Like I literally been grinding since the beginning of the year because I'm sure you know this, but my wife went on a deployment earlier in January for 9 months. So I was like, all right, like this year, like I'm just gonna be like working
yeah,
all the
grinding.
time, putting all my work and efforts into all my clients, and then
Yeah,
also me myself getting back into shape. But yeah, it's been a great year, man.
yeah, that's awesome, man. And I gotta say, hats off to Rachel, dude. She um life demands so much of her between her military service, her dental career, but then also her pro athlete career. And it's funny because everyone kind of has their reasoning or excuses for why they fall off every now and then.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's good excuses, sometimes it's not so good excuses. But that chick just stays on point, bro. She
yeah,
could
it
be in
is.
the desert with canned tuna,
Dude,
as her only source of protein, and she will stay on point. And I just think Aaron's talked about it too. Like it's just so impressive how dedicated and locked in she is,
yeah,
even maybe when the dedication isn't there, she stays locked in and she
yeah.
doesn't let, any of her potential excuses affect her.
No, man, for sure, man. That's one of the things I really like was so attracted to her even when I first met her, which is like that willpower and that drive that she
Yeah,
had. Whatever she sets her mind, I mean, that's why she's a dentist. Whatever she sets her mind to, like she's gonna freaking do it. And like
totally.
I was almost shocked like when she came back home because like we're still communicating like pretty much on a daily basis when she was gone, and she'll send me pictures and stuff. But like the lighting over there sucks, and like you can't really tell someone's physique through just pictures.
Yeah.
She came back home and she showed me she was showing me what she was looking at. I was like, holy like how did you put on so much more muscle over there and got leaner at the same time just by literally she was like doing the same thing every day for 9 months and training and eating the same thing. So she was just eating a lot of like cleanish food and then
Yeah.
just training. But yeah, you're absolutely right, man. I feel like if you want something, you'll make it happen, like no matter
Yeah.
what. I don't want to say no matter what your circumstances are, but even like the circumstances are not like ideal, like
Optimal. Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. She kind of like put herself in her own version of like Camel Crew, where like
Yeah.
all the distractions are gone.
Yeah.
You can barely communicate to your loved ones. There's no social media bullshit. It's just locked in. This is what I have to do today. I eat, I sleep, I work, I train, and that's it. And she's gotten incredible results.
Yeah, for
Just
sure.
goes to show you how much the distractions are actually impacting us and our progress. I think that's always been what the debate was, or what the debate should have been regarding Camel Crew's success. Like, sure, they were blasting tons of drugs. Like, there's no question there. But we also have to appreciate the fact that you were cut off from relationships, you were cut off from friends, you were cut off from family, and cut off from all the stressors or distractions in life,
Yeah.
and you just had to do it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And then when you're not so focused on even like anybody else or like what anybody else is doing and just focus on your own goals and
Yeah,
not posting on social media, like that's when you truly like separate the people that are doing it just because they want to progress for themselves and the people that are just doing it for the wrong reasons.
totally. Yeah. So let's get into a bit of your coaching career. Because like I said, we've known each other for a while. Um, Correct me if I'm wrong, but things really started taking off when you started coaching your wife, Rachel, right?
Yeah, they kind of started taking off, but like not really. I want to say it's been like a pretty slow grind, like getting, really getting more clients and developing like a good roster of
Yeah.
athletes. She had, so my wife Rachel, that's literally how I got into coaching because she's competed before in figure before we
Yep.
met, but we kind of were seeing how the divisions were headed. And back
Yep.
then, bikini wasn't that muscular or that lean. It was literally
No.
just you could you could be like 15% body fat. And if you're bikini with like good shape, like you'd probably win a show like in 2017, 2018.
Yep.
So she wasn't really attracted to that division. But then like in 2019, like the divisions were changing. Figure was getting really muscular and
Yep.
really lean. And then bikini was also getting more muscular and then leaner. And then she wasn't willing to like push the drugs or all those things that to be competitive within the figure division. So we made the decision to like, hey, like why don't we try bikini instead, and then let me coach you. That was like middle of 2019, like late 2019. So that's kind of when I started coaching her, and she had a great run. Like
Yep.
she won her first bikini show. She won her class, and the
Yep.
person that she lost the overall to was Ariana Brothers, which is, I mean, she's an amazing bikini competitor. And she went that year, I think she won the overall at nationals. And then this year, she's gone to the Olympian, all those things. So
Right.
if she lost it to her, then I'm like, okay, like,
Right. 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 It's
yeah.
acceptable. Yeah.
And then we took the feedback then was like she was actually still a little bit too muscular. So I really had to, we took like a whole year to downsize. And then in
Yep.
2020, she did her first national debut, and then she gets her pro card at her first show, like, first national level show. She gets her pro card right away. And then I was like, man, this is it. Like I'm about to get a bunch of clients, like I'm about to blow up, like all this.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like that, because people thought like, I don't know, maybe people view a coach different when they're coaching their spouse or
Maybe.
you're not working with their people. But ever since then, that's when I really started promoting coaching more, was ever since she turned pro, which was like middle of 2020, like
Yeah.
late 2020. But ever since then, it's just been a slow grind to get like more,
Yeah.
getting more clients and then getting
Yeah.
more, good athletes, people that are coachable, people that
Getting
are,
more opportunities because
yeah,
that's all it is, man. You could have the best knowledge and coaching skills in the world, but if no one gives you a chance, like, we're all kind of waiting for that opportunity. Dallas McCarver was Matt Jansen's opportunity,
yeah,
and everything skyrocketed from there. So yeah, you were just kind of waiting for that opportunity to arrive. But I think it worked out for the best because we did a mentorship together. I know
yeah.
you've done several other mentorships with, Scooby. I think even Austin too, right? You've
No,
done some
not
stuff with him.
I did, yeah, no, I did with Scooby Prep, Jason Theobald, and Dom
Dumb.
Kuzo
That's
with
right.
a content prep course. That one really helped me out a lot, to be honest. And I can touch upon that a little bit later. But yeah, I think everything worked out that way because, like, I think everything works out for a reason. Because when I was first starting, I didn't have as much experience and knowledge. I just had, I guess, good common sense,
Yeah.
like good comments, like I'm not gonna do anything
There's
super
something to
stupid.
speak for itself, but yeah.
Yeah, and then I think now like I'm in a pretty good spot because I've done all those mentorship courses. I have a lot more experience like peaking different types of athletes, working with different athletes like personalities and also their mindsets. So when
Yeah.
I get somebody new, it's almost like, okay, I kind of seen this before, like I know where this heading, and
Yep.
I know where we need to be to where I need to get you, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, having all that knowledge, I think really set you up because you started really getting a lot of good looking females. But
Yeah,
as we know, those are the people who have the most fucked up issues. And
yeah,
it takes a specialized set of eyes and understanding of like, why are certain things happening? And, I need to address this before prep.
yeah.
And you were also getting some really good looking guys. So I just feel like the past 2 to 3 years, you've just been climbing the ranks, man, and having more and more successful people. And it's been awesome to watch from afar. So
I-
what are some What are your next goals? Like what are the thoughts? We got, 3 months left of this year. What's the anything going on the remainder of this year? And what are your plans going into 2025?
So yeah, for sure. So the Olympia is next weekend. So I'm peaking. Danny literally started her peak week on Friday. We're actually heading to Vegas on Wednesday. Um,
How are you feeling about that?
man, I'm super like really. It's almost like a surreal feeling when you get
Yeah.
your first Olympia qualification. Kind of similar to getting that first
First
pro
pro
card.
card. Yeah.
But it feels like
Your
surreal.
next step up.
Yeah, you're like, man, I can't believe like it happened, but I can't believe it happened. And like watching it unfold like in person is even more surreal. So I was almost like I couldn't believe it for almost like a month. I was like, wow, I can't believe we did this. But yeah, I think I'm more like nervous than I am excited just because I want to. I mean, obviously it's the Olympian, it's her first Olympic, like we're not gonna win it, but
Right.
I want to be able to at least crack like that top
Yeah,
10.
place. Yeah.
And she looks incredible, man. We've been like really low key this time to not post anything because I don't want to put any like expectations or a lot of pressure on her or anything like that because she was already feeling like and it's been a long year for her. She's been prepping since January pretty much. So her body is
Wow.
tired. She's stressed out. So
Yeah.
I'm just like, all right, let's just finish this and like bring our best. We're
Yeah.
pretty much bringing the same look that we brought to Atlanta, which the judges over there they loved it. It was a really
Yeah.
good basically what the wellness division is. She's bottom heavy, very small waist, very pretty, like perfect wellness conditioning where she was really hard with separated tines, really good fullness. So that's what we're gonna bring. But yeah, man, like I'm super excited for it.
That's awesome, dude. How about after the Olympia? Do you have anything else the rest of the year?
Oh yeah. Oh, actually, I forgot to mention, I also have a bikini amateur that's doing the Olympia
Amateur
amateur
Olympia?
Tuesday, and she looks insane, dude. I think I think that might be another pro card because she's
Dude, that's awesome.
she looks crazy. But at the Olympia Amateur, they're doing you got to win your class and you got
Yeah.
to get top three in the overall. But I
That's
think
tough.
she definitely has the potential to win her class because dude, she's peeled,
Yeah.
really good glutes, really
Yeah.
small waist. Like so, she has all the right tools. So I
Yeah.
think well, no, I'll let you know about like Tuesday or Wednesday if we got it or
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. Keep me
But that's
posted.
what
The
that's before.
Amateur Olympia is interesting, man, because it's an international show. So it's not just NPC, it's all over. And it's kind of 50-50. Most people assume international show means it's harder. Believe
Yeah.
it or not, some of these people are showing up. They haven't even done a warm-up show. Like they shouldn't even be in the NPC, let alone doing the amateur Olympia. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So sometimes it is harder. Sometimes the quality is actually less. And if you come correct, you're just, wiping the floor with everyone. That's kind of what I've noticed from the amateur Olympia.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like those, because I think that's the only way that people that are international can get
Right.
their pro cards because
Right. If they're not citizens.
they can't do national level shows. So
Right.
sometimes you can get that good of a caliber of athletes, but then sometimes, like if it's for wellness, dude, like when I went to Pittsburgh, they the at North Americans, a lot of international
Yep.
clients can do a show there. When it came to wellness, man, those girls were those girls from Brazil, like they were
Well,
just
yeah. So you got South
yeah,
American girls and shit.
yeah,
Yeah. There
yeah,
ain't
yeah.
no
So,
competing with that.
yeah, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting, man. Awesome.
Okay. So I
How
got
about how
Cassie.
about 2025?
Wait, hold on. I still got nationals. Nationals,
Oh, I forgot about nationals.
I have another girl, another bikini athlete. We missed it at North Americans. She ended up getting sixth, but that's because I brought her in I literally brought her in looking too full and too big from the front post because I pumped up her shoulders. And Sandy was like, bikini is one of those things, man, where it's like they can really justify anything. And then it depends on two things. It depends on the judges, on what
Yep.
they prefer, and then
Yep.
it depends on the lineup. And
Yep.
when she came out in that lineup, she was like the most muscular girl there. Like
That
she was,
stands out in a bad way.
yeah. So they were looking for like a more petite, slender type of
Yeah.
bikini look. And they also asked for a little bit more conditioning. But to me, like her conditioning was spot on. but
Yeah.
the other girls were just a little tighter than her and just more petite.
Yeah.
But that was also our first like show like ever. Like it's our first peak
Yeah.
ever, and we improved on all of her looks that she did earlier this year. But she's doing nationals, and if we do basically what Sandy asked, which I know we'll be able to do, like she has a really good shot at getting her pro card because it's top two at nationals. Um, so that's one, and then I also have Muhammad. I don't know if you saw him compete earlier this year as
Classic,
well.
right?
No, he's a bodybuilder, middleweight,
Oh,
right?
Mo.
With Mo, yeah, with the red trunk.
Yeah.
So he's getting ready for nationals too, and he looks, dude. Sometimes I'm like, he sends me pictures, and I'm like, how do you only weigh 184, 183? Because
That's
you look
so
like 200
crazy.
pounds right now. So I'm bringing him in as a middleweight, and
Nice.
he has a really good shot too. Like he has a really good shot because
Nice, man. That's
he has
awesome.
he has all the size and he's pretty balanced. He just needs
Yeah.
to get like stupid peeled, and he'll get it.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome, man. A lot. So for the viewers, listeners that don't know, most of you probably assume that bikini's the easiest division to coach, but in a lot of ways, it's not. Because it's not as cut and dry. When you work in most of the male divisions and the upper level female divisions, it's very cut and dry. Muscularity, shape, conditioning, and posing. But because bikini is trying to limit the muscularity, limit the conditioning, all these other factors come into play. And then also we have to remember that it's it's person to person bias. Some
Yes.
judges like fuller, thicker women. Some judges like really, really like zero existent waistlines, you know? And then with bikini too, the judges are very hyper focused on the other aspects, the hair, the makeup, the presentation, the full thing rather than just over analyzing glute striations and stuff like that. So it's actually harder to it's harder to perfectly judge bikini, but it's also harder as a coach to figure out exactly what to bring.
Yeah.
And like Andre said too, the judges have explained that show to show, there can also be differences because they're kind of going off of the lineup on stage and what's the average look. So if everyone is coming somewhat fuller and softer, and then one girl is hyper shredded,
Yeah.
that's a bad that's standing out in a bad way. And kind of like what he was saying, everyone was showing up kind of smaller. His woman showed up a little bit bigger and fuller. It stood out in a bad way. So there's a lot of just individual bias in bikini that makes it a lot tougher. Personally, at the national level, I never had success in bikini at the national level because there was just so many other details and it wasn't as cut and dry as be as big and as lean as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's easier in its own ways, but it's harder. And it's like, for bodybuilding, it's kind of the biggest and leanest guys is usually gonna win.
Yeah.
And for bikinis, like all those things that you just mentioned, and then it really just depends on that judge's individual like preferred look, and
Yeah.
then how you look next to the lineup. Because when I was looking at her check-in pictures and I saw her in person by herself, I'm like, okay, you look perfect. Like there's a really good bikini look. Waist looks small when you hit your front post like this.
Yeah.
Shoulder good, glute pop looks good. From the back, your tie-ins are in, not too hard, not too soft. Like you look. I'm like, you look spot on. I'm like, it's usually the worst. It's worse when I'm super confident with one individual and then we don't nail it. And then with somebody else, I'm like, I don't think we're gonna get it. And then I end up getting it with somebody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But then when I saw her walk out and like when I saw her walk out for the video routine, I was like, okay, now she looks good. But then I saw her next to everybody else. I'm like, oh, okay, no, she looked way too full. Like way too
Yeah.
like especially in that front pose. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think for any coaches who listen to this, think about that. You're paying attention to your athlete every single week. Of course, you're going to be biased for your athlete because
Yeah.
you know how good they look from every angle. You've invested your own personal time, money, and energy into that person. So, of course, you're going to have this somewhat unfair bias towards them. Whereas the judges are looking at everything as a whole. And one thing coaches could do better probably is post show reflect on themselves and say, well, were you truly analyzing everyone fairly, or will you just hyper focus on your client? You know?
Yeah. That's how you get better as a coach too. When you obviously there's always going to be some form of bias towards your
Yeah.
client, but sometimes you have to be realistic and then
Yeah.
actually compare it to that other person and be like, okay, I see why they gave it to somebody else compared to
Yeah.
them. And
And
that's how you get
sometimes
better.
that doesn't mean you have to change. It just means in that lineup, it just wasn't your day. And people
Yeah,
need to
that's
accept that.
yeah, that too. Especially with bikini. Like I would
Yeah,
say with bikini, one of those
exactly.
things because I've even seen it. Sometimes it's worse at regional level shows where it's actually happened to me earlier this year where I brought in a girl that I was to me, she looks spot on. Like her conditioning is really good, not too hard. I usually err more on the conditioning side than to like fullness because I really like conditioning for
Me
bikini
too.
athletes.
Yeah.
But sometimes it hurts me at regional level shows where I bring him in
They're too
too
good.
too
Yeah.
hard for that show compared to everybody else. Because it
Yeah.
happened to me. I got a second place placing with a bikini athlete, and the girl that won was not in condition at all, but she had better bikini shape. Like that's what the judges told me.
That's
So I was
so
like,
annoying,
so I
bro.
was like, so I was like, okay, yeah. So I was super mad about that one, but it's something I was just like, it's just not our day.
Yeah. Yeah.
The same thing happened to me. I think the show was in it was either Pennsylvania or like Indiana with a wellness masters athlete. Kind of the same thing that we were talking about for that show. She came in like extremely conditioned. When I was seeing her in my check-in pictures, to me, she looked good. I was like, oh, this is really good. Like, this is really good conditioning. I even kept telling her, like, we're about to smoke this show. Like, nobody in here is going to come with like this type of condition. I can guarantee that. But yeah, next to that lineup, everybody else came in soft.
Too
She
much.
looked almost like bodybuilding conditioning on a female.
Wow.
So she ended up getting, I think she got like I mean, that's the one she turned pro at Pittsburgh, but she barely qualified. She got like second in the open.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough, man. These
Yeah.
days, because you've had success across the board, male and female. Do you have a favorite division these days?
Man, that's kind of hard because when I first started, I was like the bikini coach, but now I
Yeah.
have more pro cards in men's physique and classic than I do in bikini.
Yeah.
I think my favorite would be and it's tough. I feel like they're kind of like they're about the same. I would say bikini wellness and classic or bodybuilding, they're about the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah.
Like they're equally. The only one that I don't like, I would say the one that I don't enjoy the most would be men's physique.
It's so frustrating, that
Yeah.
class, bro. That is just
That's
a frustrating division. That's another division at the national level. Never had like best experience I had was years ago. Um, you know Seth Brown, don't you? He lives in Raleigh.
the name sounds familiar, but I don't think I know him.
He hasn't competed in years, but he was always close, you know, like he was always getting around like top 7 to top 9, and we're talking like 60-person men's physique classes, you know what I mean, back in like 2016, 2017. Best he ever did was universe, and I think he got 6th or 7th, so we were like right there almost in top 5. um but that's the best I've done at the national level with men's physique. It's a to me it's a fucking annoying division, dude. You
It
know,
is. It
it's
is.
so genetic dependent, and no matter how good you think your guy looks, some other guy rolls in with this non-existent waist and these really long clavicles, and you're like, it's over, dude. It's
Yeah.
fucking over. This guy's insane. You know,
Yeah. It's true, man. It's that's a very genetic driven division of
I think
bodybuilding.
it's the most genetic driven division.
Yeah, because that look that like for me, for example, if I wanted to do men's physique, like I would not do well because
Right.
I don't have that crazy, small waist
Yeah.
that and then like very wide clavicle. So it's like
Yeah.
definitely if you have a small waist, and you have wide clavicles, like that division, you'll do well.
Totally.
Yeah,
Even if your conditioning is you could have a peeled guy with shorter clavicles, but the guy with the better shape is most likely going to win, even if his conditioning is a little bit off, you know?
I agree.
They
Yeah.
just love that just insane genetic shape in that class. And I respect it, but it's an annoying division to coach for sure. It's an annoying
Yeah, for
division to
sure.
coach.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. For some reason, that's the one that it's like, I don't, I mean, I like it. I like winning. I like winning pro shows and I like winning the overall. I mean, not pro, I like winning a pro card and like, if I have a guy that comes to me and I'm like, oh man, like you're definitely men's physique.
Yeah.
Like early this year, that guy that turned pro in men's physique, he was like, yeah, man, like I want you to coach me. Like I haven't really been doing anything. Like I haven't like hasn't been doing anything. And I'm like, all right, let me see what you look like. He takes his shirt off and the dude's like already pretty lean and he has like the men's physique shape. And I'm like, all right, bro, like you're gonna turn pro this year. Just do what I say and you're gonna freaking turn pro. So if
Yeah.
I get out like that, then I get super excited because I know we're gonna do well,
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've been around for a good while with me, whether it's coaching or just, involved in the fitness world. How, in your perception, how have things changed in the competitive landscape lately? Good and bad. What have you noticed?
Good. From the good, I would say that the quality of athletes and coaching has definitely gotten a lot better
I
in
agree
the
with
past
that.
couple of years. Because I mean, you still go to a regional level show, and like the majority of people that you see there like are not, they don't come in 100%,
Yeah.
but you see a few that you're like, wow, like they look really good. And then if you go to a national level show, like the same thing, like you'll see a lot of individuals that are just coming in really, really good shape, or like they basically done their homework. So I
Yeah.
would say that that's probably the good, like everybody's leveling up.
Yep.
The bad, I'm trying to think of one. I'm like brain fart right now. I can't think of one right
It's
now.
a tough one. So
Yeah.
I'll say my personal opinion from someone who's kind of, for one reason or another, stepped a tiny bit back from the competitive world, at least personal coaching.
Yeah.
I think the one issue that I see that is slowly increasing is just the upper level female divisions doing too much. Too
Yeah.
much gear, too much muscularity. They're almost like teetering on like the trans movement, dude. And I
Mm,
just don't support that. I'm not talking about wellness, and bikini, but and even figure I feel like is that middle ground, but women's physique, that division is basically gone,
yeah.
and it's like women's physique and women's bodybuilding are essentially the same. And I just feel like it's gone way too far. Um, when you look at old school women's bodybuilding, they were still super healthy. They still looked like feminine women and stuff like that. Nowadays, it's pushing the limits too far. We've seen this happen before. And what basically ends up happening is it's kind of the judge's fault because they reward, that level.
That's true.
So the judges keep rewarding it. Then out of the blue, the judges will say, hold on, we've gone too far. And then they'll kind of, instead of awarding it, they'll ridicule those people. But now there's no going back. Now, they can't fix those issues. So I feel like the judges kind of need to sit down and be like, where are we going with these divisions? And like, how can we improve on these things? That's been like my number one critique that I've noticed, because I do agree with you. I think coaches have gotten smarter. I think across the board, everyone has gotten a little bit more health conscious,
Yeah.
some more than others, but I think in the broad scheme, we can say compared to 10 years ago, there is much more health consciousness in the athlete and coaching community. I think
Yeah.
Sebum helped a lot with that because he has his own autoimmune issues. So him showing people like, look how successful I am not doing those things, like that kind of opened up people's eyes to healthier approaches. The one other thing I'll say, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but I heard earlier this year that Tyler Mannion kind of mentioned that show signups are down by 30%. And
Really?
so like the amateur levels, the amateur shows are kind of seeing a decrease in signups and stuff. And I think part of that's coming from the fact that people have realized they can make a lot more money by being influencers than stepping on stage,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, that could be true. That could be a reason, or maybe some people are just sometimes I've noticed this with some clients where they're seeking perfection before they even do a show, you know?
And I'm not,
Just
hey, I'm not against that, you know?
yeah, yeah. But no, like this happened to me, like even like with a bodybuilder, like you gotta do at least you gotta get like you gotta at least do a show first to see where you stand
Yeah,
before you get to be, like a Sean Carita, or you get to be
right.
one of these guys, because we all start somewhere. So that could be another reason too, as
Yeah,
well.
no, that's a great point.
Yeah.
You always I'm sure you've run into this. This doesn't happen much with girls as with guys. Guys always think they're much bigger than they actually are.
Yeah.
And shredding down for a show is the wake-up call to how much muscle you actually have. And
Yeah.
it's typically about 20 pounds than you think you have. Like if you
No,
hear a
it's true.
guy, you sign up a guy and the guy says, I think I'll be perfect around 185. He's probably going to be 165,
Yeah.
170. You know
Like
what I
under.
mean? But
Yeah,
in
yeah.
his mind, he thinks that water and stuff is actually muscle.
Mhm.
So that's, I think it always, even if you're not going to compete for 3 years, you should at some point get down to very low body fat
Yeah.
so that you can actually analyze your weak points. Your hamstrings at 220 are not going to be the same at 185. You know what I
No.
mean? You got to get shredded to actually see what are my weak points, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, you can be in a bulk. You can be bulky and or over 20% body fat as a male athlete, for like a competitive male athlete for three
Right.
years. At some point, you're gonna have to lean down to prime for another growth phase, or to see like how you stand and what body parts need to come up. I feel like I've ran into like 50-50. Like you get those guys where exactly how you're talking about, they think they're a lot bigger than what they are. But then I've also run into some guys where they think they need to be a lot bigger to be successful where they're currently standing, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
guys are like, they're a regional level competitor, and I'm like, dude, you have plenty of muscle. Like you don't need, like, what are you trying to do? Like, are you trying to you want to win the show, or do you just want to like keep on taking some more time to be like perfect, put on a lot more size, and then go basically make a whole run,
Right.
of like from regional to national. And then I've had some that are like, dude, like you're ready for nationals now. Like in terms of muscle size, like how much more muscle do you want to wait? Do you want to look like a pro before you even do like your national level show? So yeah, I
Right.
run to those too, where it's like they think they're really a lot bigger than they are, or they think they just need a lot more muscle.
That's so funny.
Yeah. It just
What
depends
about
on.
women? What do you encounter in that same topic of like, are women pretty in tuned with their muscularity and body fat, or do you feel like you have to have some come to Jesus moments with them as well, where it's like you actually got a good bit more to go?
I feel like when it comes to newer competitors, because I also get a lot of they never competed
Yeah,
before, with those for sure, because they don't know what they've never been into those, below 10% body fat, and they've also never competed before. So they think that they're almost ready. And I'm like, no, like we still got quite a while to go. That's why you're prepping for 16, 20 plus weeks, because, losing body fat takes time. A lot of people don't
totally.
realize that too. Like they're 25% body fat, and they think they can do like a 12-week prep first, and they're going to be in shape. Like, no, that's not how it's going to happen. I've actually lost clients earlier this year was like, hey, you're going to need a long prep. And it was like, oh, like, I don't want to prep for that long. I'm not going to sign up anymore. I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay. But if you want to do well, like you need to do a longer prep, especially if it's your first one.
You know, and you and I align completely on that idea. Nobody should be doing a short prep. I
Yeah.
think what they don't understand is when we say long prep, we're not saying 2 hours of cardio
No,
for
no.
fucking 8 months. By doing a long prep, it's less intense. It's less hard on your body. You're
Yeah.
dieting less hard. You have more diet breaks. You have more refeeds. You have more deloads. A longer prep is easier on your body, not harder on your body. That's why we're doing it.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, maybe I should explain it to the newer people a little bit better when I say long prep, because maybe they're thinking that you're
They're thinking
doing,
crash course.
yeah. Because the way that I like to do things is now is like at least a minimum 16 weeks, but anywhere from 16 to 24, 30 weeks. But I break it up into phases, like
Yep.
we have a maintenance
Exactly.
phase or like a priming phase where before the prep. And then I'm doing I've actually been doing one reason that I've had really good success this year is because I'm pushing people a lot harder right from the get. Because before I used to do it kind of like a very slow approach, kind of like you start at
Like ease into
2020,
it.
you ease into it, and then like as you stall, you go down, down,
Yep.
down, down. And so I've kind of been doing it differently this year, and I found really good success doing so, where I actually kind of push them hard right in the beginning, lose a ton of body fat, and then somewhere when I see a lot of fatigue building up, then I give them like a 3 to 4 week maintenance period, and the body gets fresh, their metabolism is in a good spot, and then I bring them back down. So yeah, if
So
people
you're
realize,
cycling.
yeah, basically cycling, but through like chunks of
Yeah.
weeks. Yeah, it works really well, dude. Like I don't know if you tried this before, but like people get in shape a lot better. And it also,
Yep.
I feel like it drives people mentally where they think I'm like, oh man, like we're put like, some people are like, they get excited, like, oh man, we're gonna push hard, and you see really quick results. And then once
Yep.
it's getting tired, you kind of hold them for a while.
Yep.
And they feel really good after that maintenance phase, and then you bring them back down. And then you usually land the conditioning where they need to be instead of doing it super slow. Like that's how kind of I was doing things in 2023. I just like this approach a lot better.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great approach. I've definitely tried it with a few people. Um, not Probably not as pre-planned and laid out as you did, but in the midst of prep, I decided in advance, we're going to take this block of time and actually increase food and stuff like that. I've also noticed that it helps maintain muscle
Yeah,
because
no, for sure.
you've increased food, you've brought down the volume of training, so the taxation on the body is differently. They feel replenished, renewed, and then you go back down into another dieting phase. Weight
Yeah,
starts falling off. They're not as fatigued and run down. I think it's a great I think that's a great strategy, man, and I'm glad that it's working well for you.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, no, I mean, in order to in order to accomplish that type of block cycling prep style, you have to have 6 to 8 months. You can't do
yeah.
that in a short
No,
time.
no, you can't. In 12 weeks, you're basically just dieting those 12
Yeah.
weeks. I mean, I've had it. I've actually I had a lady compete. See, now that I'm thinking about stuff, I had a lady compete this year, Masters over 50 at Pittsburgh. Um, she came to me like 13, 14 weeks out, and she was like, "Hey, I want to do the show. I want to do it because my friend is doing it. I want to do it because my friend is doing it, and I've done it before. Like I'm already qualified." And then she showed me what she looked like before, but then she showed me her initial pictures, and I'm like, we're gonna have to put like I was like, don't sign up for the show yet. Like I'll let you know at 3 weeks out, 2 weeks out to sign up or not. But like I told her like right off the bat, and that's when you got to communicate with the client. Like it's not gonna be an easy prep, like it's gonna be a hard prep because you're like, I'm gonna have to push you hard like right from the beginning. But in 12 weeks, man, this lady, she got on it and she came into really, really good shape. She was almost like amazed at how good of a shape that she got into in that short amount of time. And then also how much food she had to eat towards the tail end. Like she wasn't eating a lot in the beginning, but then once I literally got her in shape like 3 days before the show. Like she got in shape,
Wow.
I kept feeding her, and she's like, she only was weighing like 87 pounds, like her
Holy
low.
shit.
She's tiny. She's like 4'11", and she was like maybe like I want to say like 103 or 104 when she started prep. So she lost like 16 pounds, but she's tiny, so she's not used to eating a lot. And then like she looks like I got her in shape, then I brought her out a little bit. One day out, she looked extremely flat still. And then I'm like, all right, I need you to eat. Basically, she's eating rice and like 3 rice cakes with every meal. And then at nighttime, her night weight was lower than her, even lower where I wanted it to be. And then I said, all right, you're gonna eat 10 rice cakes, 10 rice cakes, and then like a bunch of peanut butter. And she was like, never in my life have I had to eat this much food because she's competed a lot.
She's
This much
burning through it.
this much food like right before a show. Like I was afraid I was gonna be bloated. the next day or like just look soft. But no, she like her midsection was super tiny, her glutes came in,
Wow.
everything worked out perfect. So that was when I said like one situation this year where actually like a very short prep, it worked out for this individual. But I think it was also because she was experienced and she's competed before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
What are some areas in your personal experience? What are some areas that you see clients struggle with the most?
I would say like nutritional adherence over long periods of time. I would say that's what they struggle with the most across the board for the majority of the people that I work with. But I think it really depends on the individuals because I've had some where like are great, but then the majority that I feel like that's where they struggle with the most.
Is that in your experience or in your reflection, is that due to the lack of variety? Is that due to their stress and their emotional attachment to cheap foods? Like what do you think that is?
I think it may be their more emotional attachment to cheap foods and how they handle stress.
Yeah.
I think some people, and again, it depends on the individual client, because I have some that they're stressed to the max and like they'll follow the plan just fine. But for the majority, I feel like when they're stressed, whether it be physically or mentally or emotionally,
They crumble.
they crumble and they turn to food as a crutch.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you think maybe those specific people had a bad relationship with food before starting, and that kind of is what leads to it?
oh yeah, for sure. Like I think that's 100%. I think a lot of the people that get into bodybuilding or dieting already have some form of eating disorder like going into it. And I
Correct. Yeah, I agree.
mean those people should not be getting into preps because that'll probably make it worse in the
10
long
times worse. Yeah.
because you're
Yeah.
restricting yourself so much. But those are the same people that want to do the aggressive dieting cuts, because that's what they're used to. Like they diet really, really hard, they restrict for 3 to 4 weeks, they lose a little bit of weight, and then they binge hard or they eat hard and they just gain it right back. And then it turns into like this vicious cycle. So before I even want to prep somebody, I got to make sure that they're in a good spot, food focus wise too.
Yes.
You
Do
want
you
to make
run
sure.
into a lot of issues post show with that, or every coach kind of has their ideas with post show? I've always kind of like 1 or 2 weeks out, try to prepare people in advance of like what we're not going to do after the
Yeah.
show, you know?
Yeah, I feel like I feel like I haven't had. I'm trying to think. That's very common where
Yeah.
people post show they just binge or
Yeah.
they lose all form of structure. And I usually if they're a more experienced athlete, then I don't really dive into it too much because like, they already
Right.
know what
They
to
know.
expect, and
Yeah.
I don't want to feel like I'm babying them. But if
Right.
it's newer, like they never competed before, like I'm already telling them about this 4 to 6 weeks out. It's
Yep.
like, hey, I want you to think like you're kind of still in prep 2 to 4 weeks after your show because we still have to set some form of routine post show. Like you can't go from being extremely structured and disciplined and routine to like losing all that, like not going to the gym, not doing any cardio, not eating whatever you want. So I usually try to tell them that way, way before ahead of time.
Yeah, get them prepared for what they're not going to be doing. Tell their friends, "Hey, don't buy me the 10-pound cookies." Like, get
Yeah,
all
yeah.
that stuff out of the way.
And I usually, because this is what when I was newer, I would try to reverse people too slowly to keep him leaner.
Yeah.
But I feel like that would actually hurt them in the long run or make them feel more restricted and they will actually binge even worse. So now what I try to do is just I bump up their food like pretty high, like right away, like at least close
Your
to
clean
maintenance or a little
food.
bit above maintenance because I rather you eat more, quote unquote healthier foods that digest well
Yeah.
on a daily basis to keep food focus low, then just restrict you and then you have a weak moment and then cheat right away, you know?
Yep. Yep.
And then also I'm
100%.
trying to bring you to especially if you're a female, I want to bring you up like body fat wise to like a really good spot like right away. Like there's no reason why you need to stay below 10% body fat as a female athlete.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, the talk about the block cycling and prep was great, and that kind of comes into the next question I was going to ask you. What are a few ways you feel that you have succeeded where maybe other coaches have not. I think the block prep is a great example. Do you have other examples?
I think I'm really good at planning like through the next 30 weeks of like
Okay.
what you should be doing. So that kind of goes into the block cycle. And then also like my progress tracker that I have for athletes is very detailed. So a lot of the times I'll onboard somebody that comes to me from a different coach and they're like, or they work with other different coaches and they're like, holy shit, like this is different. Like I've never done this before. I usually just get a meal plan, a training program, and your questionnaire, and you just fill it out and then check it in
Yeah.
a week. Where in my progress tracker, you literally have everything. Like you have the actual progress tracker that goes by date, that measures your daily weight readings, like what food you should be eating on that day, little notes section. You get your meal plan there, training. Like basically you have everything, your pictures on there.
Yep.
It's really good for both of us to see it because we know like as soon as, especially when you start getting more and more clients, like you need to have some form of structure because you forget what you did, right? Like
Totally.
if you ask me like what are you doing with this person like 1 week ago, and I'm like I couldn't tell you. Like I have to look at it and then it's almost like I get situated as soon as I look
Of
at the
course.
tracker. So I think I'm really good at planning and it's a lot of details and then also making their having their goals or helping them meet their goals that fits their lifestyle. And then also, I'm trying to think here. I lost my train of thought. um, damn, I can't. I'm like brain farting.
Do you feel like you kind of meet them where they are in regards to,
Yeah, meet them where they are, basically on their experience level, and then what their goals are. Because not everybody wants to get a pro card.
no, they don't.
Other people, some people just want to do their first show, or they want to get top three at a regional level show. So then I set like realistic expectations for that one person.
Yeah. Yeah, because if it's their first experience and you treat them like trying to go to the Olympia, it's
No,
going to
no,
be
no,
a
no,
rough experience on them.
no, no. So I guess I'm good at making myself like that right coach for that one individual athlete.
Yeah, I like
Because
that.
you have Olympians, you have people that are trying to get their pro cards, and then you have like brand new competitors, then you have lifestyle, and then you also have functional health clients. And you
Yeah.
treat all of them a little bit differently, and you like the way that you give them feedback, you also say it a little bit differently. Like on a newer competitor, I may be a little bit softer or like explain things. And then maybe like a more experienced competitor, like I'm not going really too deep into explaining like what we're doing. I was like, hey, we got to do this and we got to do it like right now because you got to get in shape,
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
Yeah.
I think that's probably also helped you in regards to your success specifically with female athletes.
Mhm.
Men, you can be a little bit more colder and kind of drill instructor like,
Yeah.
whereas women, you have to adapt your style of coaching to their style of being a client,
Yeah.
and that makes the relationship that much more successful. You probably gathered that or developed some of that from coaching your wife, you know?
Yeah. I think you're right, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean I'll be honest, that's not something I've always been good at. It's kind of like I have my way that I know works, so you're
Hmm.
going to work with me my way.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah.
So I think, you're able to reach a much larger market of people because you have some flexibility in your coaching styles, and you can
Yeah.
still be successful without while with having flexibility.
Yeah. Yeah.
As
I'll get,
soon as I get a little bit more flexible, I start doubting the success.
I see. No, I guess, yeah, that's the perfect way to put it. I guess I'm flexible with my coaching depending on that individual's person, their experience, and then they're also their goals.
That's awesome, man. I think that really highlights your skill and knowledge that it'll still be okay, even if I move the needle a little bit on some of these things, you know?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, that's where the fun part in coaching comes in, actually, man, because then it doesn't get as monotonous
Yeah.
and as it's like I said, like not everybody desires to get a pro card. Like that's not what's driving them. And then some people are also realistic, like they know I don't have like some people are like, and then I love that. Like people are like, hey, like I know I'm not gonna get a pro card, but I still want to do a show and I want to get top three. And I'm like, like cool. I don't have to tell you, like you already know, like this is like we have already our expectations, you know?
Yep, we're on the same page.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Um, we kind of skipped ahead a bit. Do you have any big plans for 2025? When's Rachel coming back?
Oh, Rachel's already back, dude. She's been
Oh,
back
oh, I didn't know that.
since. Oh yeah, I guess we haven't really. Yeah, we haven't really posted it on this. I mean, we posted on our story, but we haven't really made
Yeah,
like
I haven't
really,
seen much from her.
really big post. No, but she got back like a month ago. Yeah,
Oh, okay, great.
she's been back for a month. She's visiting some family right now because she was gone for 9 months. But yeah, we're planning for the rest of the year. So we gotta do we're going to the Olympia
Yep.
this next weekend. Then she goes back to work for a week, and then we have a whole week trip planned to Cancun because we pretty much
Dude, that's awesome.
and we're like we deserve it. We're like we got to take a really good trip because we were pretty much been working nonstop since
Yeah.
January, being away from each other and all those things. So we're just
Yeah.
taking a full week just for ourselves to decompress. Like I think that's really important. Um, After that is the holidays, and then we're pretty much starting her prep too. We're thinking about she's actually applying for the Arnold, but there's they only allow 10 people to compete per division.
Yeah.
So she's applying. We'll see if we get. I mean, we'll see if we get it or not. But if we get it, we'll start prep maybe in like early December for that.
Awesome.
But if not, our first show next year is going to be Charlotte Pro, which
Charlotte
is like
Pro.
Charlotte Pro. I'm like, we
Oh
got
yeah, dude.
like we're like 2 hours away from it. Like we gotta do it.
Yeah.
I, I have her doing it, and then I also have Saquon Mitchell. I don't know if you've seen him on my
Yeah. Oh yeah.
he turned pro at Nationals 2022 as a middleweight, but he was going as a classic pro debut, and I want him to do. He wants to do it too, the Charlotte, because he looks insane right now.
Yeah.
He's like 5'5", 5'6". He's wearing like 210, 212, like lean,
Wow.
like tiny waist. Is all the body parts are there. Like he'll look insane for that one. If
Charlotte
we
Pro has been a very impressive show, in my opinion. Especially like, I mean, what has it been around? It's only been around, I want to say 3 years now. And
Mhm.
every year, really impressive quality of people. I mean,
Yeah.
Rachel's gotten top five, top four
Yes.
at Charlotte Pro.
No, she was first call outs. I think she got seventh.
Oh, really? Okay. Seventh.
That lineup, man, there was like 40 or 50 girls in that
It was
class.
big.
Yeah.
And the
And
girls who did beat her were like big name
Olympian, Olympians.
Olympians. Yeah.
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 No, man, great. I'm super excited I'm trying to do like, I'm not trying to get too excited because sometimes I hyperfixate and I would already start planning for it. And she's like, just hold on, like, give me a minute. So I'm like trying to just focus on one show at a time. Like, let me get the Olympia out of the way, then this one, then
Yeah.
national, then I start planning it. But I think next year is going to be her year because
I agree. It's
the,
only a matter of time for her to go the
the amount of muscle mass that she's put on, because her problem from the front she's always been great, but it's always just been from the back where her glute density and depth was missing. But she finally has that now. And then from all of the experience that I've gathered this year and like all the peaking protocols, like I already kind of got a pretty good idea of like what I'm gonna be doing with her and with
yeah.
that. And I think we're gonna nail it, man. So I'm super excited. So
That's exciting.
we're thinking about doing a whole run of shows. Like we may do Charlotte, then Pittsburgh, and then some Texas shows, just because she really likes. Um, there's one show in Texas she really likes, the Dallas Pro. She really likes that one.
Okay.
That one. But yeah, I have her, Saquon. I can't. Oh, I have a few for junior USAs, but they're pretty much just like they're in the cleanup phases right now. Like I
Mhm.
have two wellness girls, a bikini girl. But yeah, it's gonna be a good year next year, man. I'm super excited.
Dude, that's awesome. I'm excited to keep watching you guys climb the ladder, dude. That is
Yeah,
awesome. I'll most likely be at Charlotte, so it'll be cool to catch you guys there again
yeah,
and see Rachel compete as well as your other guy. The classic division at Charlotte Pro has been really good too.
yeah. The guy that won last year, Fabioni, he's from like I think Dominican Republic or something. I talked to him backstage. Dude looks insane. Like,
Nutty. Yeah.
I was like, all right, he's gonna win. He's gonna because he was posting up. He was very confident going into the show, and all of his updates, like he looked insane in the updates. And then when I saw him in person, I was like, yeah, like this guy's got it.
Yeah.
Like, but I think he told me he took off like 2 years from competing, and he used
Oh,
to
really?
compete. He used to compete as a bodybuilder, and that was pretty much like his classic like debut within the pro ranks. And he the first time he's competed like in a while, and he just won it.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, he had the muscle foundation already, so he just had to get peeled.
yeah. I didn't tell you about this, but I may. I'm itching towards compete. I may do a show too as well next year.
Yes, dude.
Yeah,
Yes.
because I've been.
Classic?
Yeah, I'm thinking classic. I may crossover. I may do classic and bodybuilding
Okay.
because at my height with the new weight and height, I will be 187. Because if it was 182, like it
Yeah.
used to be, there's no way I'm going to be 182. But I think I can be 187,
Yeah. What are you sitting at roughly right now?
like 225.
Nice. Nice.
I'm heavy, man. I don't. You were coaching me for a little while, and when I first reached out to you, I think I was weighing like 220, 225.
Yeah.
But this is like a completely different 220 to 25. Like
Yeah.
I've never in my life been this lean. I mean, I'm not lean, but like I'm leanish at 225,
At 225. Yeah. Yeah.
225 is
That's
always
awesome.
in like my fat, like sloppy
Right.
225.
Right. That's awesome, man. I'm excited to watch that for sure.
Yeah. So I'm excited for it, man, because I completely lost that competitive urge to compete myself once I got deep into coaching because I wanted to get
Same.
overalls and stars and I want to get that Olympic
Yeah.
qualification. But now that I have it and I've been bodybuilding for myself, like the beginning of this year, and I'm seeing how my body is responding with not really doing anything crazy. I'm like, mama.
Yeah. Yeah. Getting the itch
I'm
again.
like, yeah, I'm getting the chicken for sure. Yeah.
I feel like that's something else that's kind of changed just in the past 5 years. We saw a lot of the big name coaches put their own goals on the back seat and just hyper focus on their clients, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think oh man, I don't think that we touched upon this, but I think one thing that really has helped me out this year is getting back into fitness for myself and then setting a routine for myself. Like I don't know how to explain it, but it's made me a better coach at the same time. Because one, I'm more confident, and then two, I feel good on a daily basis. Like after I leave the gym, like I feel really good, and just setting that routine and structure for myself and working towards my own goals,
Yeah.
I feel made me just feel better in general, made me a better coach as well.
Yeah. No, I mean, I totally understand that, man. I think certain people thrive off of regiment and structure and routine. I'm one of those people. Um, Honestly, like in the past year, me and Aaron, got so overwhelmed with all the businesses that we just let everything go at the start of this year. I was lucky to get in one workout a week, dude. Like I went 5 months without barely any training, but I also wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't drinking water. I was skipping meals all the time, maybe getting 2 meals in a day, like really under eating. And then I'd be so hungry at night. What do? I fucking binge at night,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we get Uber Eats because we're so stressed that we need to freaking cheat at the
yeah,
end of the night just to get to sleep. And finally, only about 2 months ago, I got blood work done, did not look good. And I was like, all right,
yeah.
this is the wake up call. It's time to, get my shit together. Part of it too was working from home ended up becoming toxic to me in the past year. I
Oh yeah.
used to do pretty good with it because I mean, I've been coaching now for 12 years, but working from home in the past year or so just got really toxic for me. So a couple months ago, I started looking around and I just decided to rent an office space.
Mhm.
And by doing so, what did that cause? It caused me to wake up every morning, go for a walk, shower, get dressed, pack a bag, pack my meals, get to work, and that regiment just changed everything. Now I go to the gym at the same time, I eat my meals at the same time. I'm not trying to fucking compete again, but it
Yeah, yeah.
just feels good to be productive and accomplish everything throughout the day.
No, it does. And I think not even like if your goals are not to compete, I think having routine and exercising just makes your brain function better. Because
Yeah, for me to these days, it's just happiness and feeling healthy.
yeah, exactly. Because I feel like now we both I mean, you're really successful with both coaching and your business, and like your own goals took a like basically took a back. Like you have to put your own like fitness goals are like basically not prioritizing yourself for so long that you start feeling so shitty that once you have everything else in like a good spot, and I'm sure you guys are running everything efficiently and smoothly, and you have like a
Yeah.
system, and now you can put yourself like as a priority again.
Yeah.
So
It was
that's
like
what
a
I thought.
pivot and then
Yeah,
you're
because
back.
that dude, the same thing happened to me. Like when my coaching started taking off and I started getting more clients, and I didn't have a set system in place, like with the way that I was tracking things and like doing like check-ins and like being like, okay, like if you like these are my workouts. Like you can text me from like 8 to 4 or email me or whatever. Like I
Yeah.
got this fine. And then Sundays, like I try not to do any work, but I end up doing any work. I always tell myself like, Sundays I'm not gonna do any work, but then I always end up working.
Yeah.
Once you do that, man, like you just start feeling a lot better, just
Yeah.
prioritizing yourself, and then you can be a better husband or spouse, better person, better coach. Because I was exactly where you were. I want to say like late 2022, and then last year was even worse because it almost like I was just focused on other people doing well and other people's goals that like I just let myself go completely. And
Completely.
same thing, like I wouldn't eat breakfast. I would eat maybe like a 1 meal, and then at nighttime I'll have like a really big cheat meal. And then I started drinking too. So I was like, it was not good. So when Rachel
Yeah.
left, all right, I gotta prioritize myself
Yeah.
before I can be a really good coach or a really good
Yeah.
spouse, like all these things.
Well, I'm glad you got back to that place, man. I mean, you're crushing it this year, so it all worked out, and I'm super happy to see you where you are.
I appreciate it.
Um, I really appreciate you coming on today. Let's let people know how to get a hold of you, in case they're looking for any form of coaching, whether that be posing, lifestyle, prep coaching. Um,
Yeah.
tell us your Instagram, your email, how they can reach you.
So the best way to reach me would be through Instagram. It's my name, Andres X Linares. And through there, if you're interested in coaching, you can go up to actually click the link in the bio on my website. And from there, you can see all of the packages and everything that I offer and all those things. So that'll probably be the easiest way to contact me would be through my Instagram website.
Awesome, man. Well, yeah, guys, if you're looking for a great prep coach, a coach who's willing to meet you where you are, who's
Yeah.
also extremely educated on the health conscious side of things, he can bring you in at your best, but keep you healthy at the same time. Andres is your man.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, it's been great chatting with you. We need to, catch up again soon. We're only a couple hours away from each other. Next time we're traveling to Raleigh or Charlotte, I'll definitely let you know and we'll all
Oh yeah.
catch up.
Let me know, man. I'm only an hour, like 50 minutes away from Raleigh. So yeah.
Cool. All right, brother. Well, I hope you have a great day and we'll talk again soon.
You too, man. Thanks.